Well, the problem is it's just not under their control. I'm sure they're willing to offer whatever they need to offer to get him, but if the Spurs don't want to play ball with him, then there's just nothing they can do. And I also think they need to have conversations with these players. Now, if it's not going to be LeBron, then his management team. You know, what is LeBron looking for? You know, what would he think of playing with Kawhi or playing with Paul George or playing with both? Or, you know, and talk to Paul George and Kawhi, too. Once free agency begins, you can do that. So, not Kawhi, he's not free agent, obviously, but they need to talk to these guys and see what they're thinking. Like with LeBron. I believe Kawhi is much better than Paul George, or better than Paul George. You would rather have LeBron and Kawhi. But I think I'd rather have LeBron, Paul George, and the supporting cast, Brandon Ingram and all those young guys, Kuzma.
That's a great point.
Than just LeBron and Kawhi.
Yeah, that's a great that roster, because you don't have to give up anything to get Paul George and LeBron. I see what you're saying, even though you're saying Kawhi is a better player.
Yeah.
But
you
look
have
at
to
the
give
state.
Up
Yes.
But the question, though, is if you don't trade for Kawhi, are you going to risk ending up with none of them? Because here's the worst scenario for the Los Angeles Lakers, is that Kawhi, you don't trade for Kawhi, you hold the fort, you don't make. I think they could get it done. I think Ball.
Soon, no.
Yeah, I think you call them up, you say you're going to Ball, Ingram, and Kuzma, and a couple first-round picks. We'll give you everything. Nobody's beating that. Nobody's coming close to that. You want to cut off your nose, spite your face, and not trade him out west,
But if
fine.
they can get that at the end of the summer or the deadline,
so
or during the year,
here's the problem, though, and this is the issue. So I was told last night that it is not just the Lakers and Cleveland for LeBron, that you cannot X out Philly and you can't even X out Houston, that even if the Lakers and Cleveland are leading candidates, that all four of those teams are still on the table. If you don't trade for Kawhi and Paul George stays in OKC, which is still available, and if LeBron stays in Cleveland for a year, then fine, you run this back next year. But if LeBron goes to Philly or he goes to Houston, then you're never getting it. LeBron is not going to Philly or Houston for 1 year. And now you run the risk of, wait, what is the plan? Where is the big fish coming from if LeBron goes to one of those places?
But why would Paul George stay in Oklahoma City if LeBron James went to L.A.? If Kawhi's off the table and Paul George knows LeBron's going, wouldn't he want to go to
I'm talking about the reverse order, though, Jenna. What I'm talking about, I don't think LeBron's going to be the first domino. I think LeBron's going to wait and see. And so I think that the point is, I think if you get Kawhi, I think you have to look at the Kawhi trade as you are trading for multiple players. Because if you get Kawhi, one of these other guys is coming. And so, that's why I would give up everything, whatever it takes to go get him.
I don't doubt that they're willing to do that. If I'm the Spurs, I'm also looking at it like you are. We're trading them Kawhi and multiple players. Because, and I get what you're saying, and I tend to agree that at the end of the day, you have to do what makes your roster best. Yeah. And that's a heck of a trade that you just threw out as far as what the Lakers could give them. But if I'm the Spurs and I can get that in September and keep you from getting LeBron, why don't I do that? You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't just want the Lakers not to get Kawhi. They don't want them to get LeBron, even if it's only for a year. They love to screw up the whole Lakers plan,
sure.
You know?
Chris, I got a question for you. Do the Lakers need to see Kawhi on the court before they give up all these assets? Because ain't nobody talking about that. We act as if Kawhi had a sensational season. But he didn't play.
He was good in those 9 games and 25 minutes a night.
Yes.
No, I'm with you.
There is some risk to that.
I agree. Right? I totally agree. Now, I think they would look at it and say, we believe he's going to be fine. But there's a risk because he didn't play 82 games a year even when he's healthy. Now, some of that's Popovich sitting guys out, but some of that was also injuries here and there. And you're giving up a boatload of stuff. That's why it's just easier to go get Paul George if you can. And LeBron and
Chris, I just thought that you'd be the type of man that, something, before I need to touch my stuff before I get it. I just thought you would be like that.
I'm kind of like
that. But here's the thing. This is, man, everyone knew Paul George was going to the Lakers.
You're right. It's a
everyone. Listen, Indiana, trade me because in 2 years I'm a Laker. I mean, I've never seen an agent publicly say something like that with 2 years left on a contract. Not only is he leaving, this is where he's going. You might as well trade him. Credit, by the way, to Oklahoma City. for saying we'll roll the dice.
Yeah.
It might end up paying off for him. Like you can say it kind of paid off last year, but the difference in OKC's future with just Russ, or if Paul George decides to stay, and I know there's the report, and we'll talk about it more later, he opted out of his deal, but he could still stay there. I would argue no one in the world, forget pro athletes, no one in the world can definitively say, here's what I'm doing 1 year from today. No, I don't care if you're the president of the United States. I don't care if you're a guy picking up trash on Fifth Avenue. I don't care if you're a pro athlete. You never know definitively what you're doing. So this whole idea of if the Lakers plan is, you know what, we'll keep our guys because Kawhi's going to come. And then LeBron will join him. Magic said it'll be 2 years anyway.
Yep.
Man, you're rolling the dice there.
It's a risk. There is no question about it. Because you're right. Everybody thought George was going there. What if Kawhi gets traded to Boston? They win
the
it.
title.
He enjoys playing with Kyrie. Like, even if they don't win it, you just enjoy the situation, like Paul George.
And what if a guy in Kawhi Leonard has only lived in, that I know of, Southern California and San Antonio? What if a big attraction of L.A. is, man, all these cities that aren't L.A. are terrible because San Antonio's the only place he's lived.
Yeah.
And then he lives in Philly a year, and he's like, oh, there's other awesome cities in America, not just Los Angeles. Like, there's a lot of factors there if you're just going to say, don't worry, we'll get him later.
Chris, if you take Kawhi off the table, say the Spurs decide, you know what, I don't want to send him to the West. He's off the table. Why don't Paul George and LeBron, which I'm sure they've already had a discussion that says, hey, I'm not opting in. I'll wait to see what you decide to do. Would those two be enough? Like, would LeBron go to L.A. if it was just LeBron and Paul George?
Yeah, I believe he would.
So that's on the table. That's up to LeBron. If he wants to do that,
well, it's up to Paul George.
Well, what's keeping Paul George there if he can go play with LeBron and the Lakers?
And you told us Paul George likes to fish and hang out with old white dudes in the suburbs, right?
In Oklahoma City.
In Oklahoma City?
I don't think that was me, but I think some of that's true.
That was Mannix. That was Mannix. I apologize.
I think there is truth to that, though.
Yeah, that Paul George is not a big city guy necessarily. That Paul George likes the low-key life, is at least what we've been told.
Well, why was he screaming about the Lakers? You know what I mean? In the first
that he was all but there.
Because it's home, right?
But it's a big city. He knows that, you know?
For sure. The point that I was making is that some guys, some NBA superstars, hate the small markets. Paul George isn't that guy, that he's more of a low-key guy, that he likes to go fishing, that he likes to just kind of hang out. And so I don't think any of these guys, except for Kawhi, know with 100% certainty where they want to play, and Kawhi's the only one that can't control it. Right? Kawhi's the only one that the decision's not in his hands.
Right now.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Because he can control it later.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of Lakers players fishing right on Rodeo Drive. Fishing.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.